All right, why don't we go ahead and move on to specific diseases and conditions. What about cancer?
Cancer is, as you know, a terrible disease. And there are two ways that Noni helps fight against cancer. One is to try to prevent it, which I think is just so important. And the second is to help with the symptoms for those people that have cancer. So let's go back to the prevention. There's a very interesting study done by Dr. Myung Wong. She's an MD scientist from the University of Illinois, and she had two groups of male mice. One group she gave Tahitian Noni to, then she gave them a substance that causes changes in the DNA which can cause cancer. The other group she gave a placebo to, no Tahitian Noni, gave them the same amount of cancer-causing substance, and she found that there were big differences in the protection between the group that had Tahitian Noni and the group that didn't get Tahitian. The results are as follows. In the lung, there was 50% protection. In the heart, 60%.
Wow.
In the liver, 70%. And in the kidney, 90% were protected. Now that's amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
And that study is in the medical literature. That's been published in a peer-reviewed journal. She presented material at the American Cancer Society, and that's good, solid stuff. Now, in Tahitian Noni, procerinine helps the body heal itself. That's one of the big things that it does. It's one of the 150 nutraceuticals that's in there. And of the people that I studied throughout the world, 2,188 people had cancer. And of that group, 69% said it helped them. It helped decrease their symptoms, whether they were decreased pain, increased energy, or just felt better. And the average amount of noni, Tahitian noni, that was taken by each of those people was 3.5 ounces a day. And then there was a fascinating lady, Ann Wilson, and Gary and Ann told me about their problem.
The summer of 2002, I started to maybe not feel my best. I started to have maybe like some flu-like symptoms. I started to feel bloated. I was very tired. So I decided to see my physician, and he found a mass that he could see. I didn't feel it at all, but he could feel a mass. I went in and had a sonogram, and they said it was about the size of a 4-month-old fetus. The next day I was in surgery, and they removed a tumor on my left ovary that was 1,032 grams, which is about 2 1/3 pounds. That did turn out to be ovarian cancer. The doctor, even though the cancer had not spread, he did recommend as a precautionary measure that I go through 6 rounds of chemotherapy as soon as I could, which I did start in October of 2002. And there was absolutely a miracle that happened there. I continued to take notes. I asked my doctors if that was okay, and they said absolutely, just to do and be and take anything that I wanted. And of course I wanted to take Tahitian Noni. And I continued to take 4 to 8 ounces throughout the day. I'd take 2 to 3 ounces at a time for a total of 4 to 8 ounces. And I was never sick. I never had the vomiting. I never was nauseated. I never had any sores in my mouth or anything negative feeling-wise. I absolutely felt wonderful. If you'd look at me, the coloring in my face was just normal. I attribute all of that, I believe, to taking nonis on a consistent and regular basis. It was a very hard experience to go through, very scary, very difficult for my family. Tahitian Noni saved my life. I truly believe that.
Wow. Dr. Solomon, that's good news, hearing about all the benefits you can get from noni to help with the symptoms of cancer.